The government is now being represented by Ms. Naima Barrow. That's from Barrow and Company. I think before, for those of you who were here when we first made the application for permission to hear this matter, there were two counsels from the Attorney General Ministry who was representing the government. Clearly now it has been privately contracted out. So just for you all to know now on the opposing side who we have, and still the counsel for Oceana, Mr. Tom Greenwood and Ms. Audrey Bradley, is Mr. Godfrey Smith. What happened just now, we went in chambers because this is a case management, and what case management means that we had to look at the different dates when we think certain affidavits should be filed, when we think that certain statements should be given, and by when we think the trial could commence. So this will definitely drag off until the end of the year. There are different preliminary things we need to do, but I think maybe of great interest is the fact that there is a possibility, it's not concrete yet, that was mentioned in chambers by the counsel for the government, Ms. Barrow, that they will be looking into the possibility of doing, of course, preliminary objections. They're going to be questioning whether we file certain things on time based on an order given previously. And of course, as no surprise to us, they will try and strike out the matter before it reaches the court. So I think that's going to be our first uphill battle that we'll be dealing with, and then thereafter, of course, we will go through the process. What is important about this case is that very soon there'll be another referendum coming up, and people need to know that they can have faith in the system of referendum, and they need to know that when it's told to the people you have a right to have a say, you should have that right. So this is beyond just us saying that we must have a referendum on the issue of whether there should be offshore oil drilling or not, but it's testing a legislation that was given to us by this administration that was saying we're giving you the people the power, because democracy is government for the people, by the people, and one way people govern is by giving their view in a referendum. We don't know what order and how it will end, but let's say the best case scenario, the order is that the court rules that those signatures were indeed valid, that the Chief Elections Officer could not have then disqualified them. It would mean then that we would have accomplished the 10% that the law requires for there to be a referendum. That most likely would mean that the matter would go back to the Governor General to get a certificate to say that there should be a referendum. That there's possibility that best case scenario that there must be an official referendum. But what does it mean for the people's referendum that we had already? Clearly it would be vindicating that, because we've always said that there was a need for people to have a say, and the people said when over close to 30,000 people came out to vote on a people's referendum. We only had 10 days to organize. We had 51 polling stations. We had volunteers, over 500 volunteers throughout this country. We didn't have to bribe anyone to come out and vote. We didn't have to be paying off people. They came out and they had a say. It is a vindication for democracy in this country. Remember, people want to have a say. You hear people's opinion on the issue of oil, and most people say, okay, there's a limit as to where we want you to drill, and definitely one of the areas off limit is offshore. And maybe it is our curse or it's our blessing that we have the world's second largest barrier reef. So we as a people have a right to protect that. And it's not to protect it for the sake of protecting it. It's a source of livelihood already. And it's something that once destroyed, you cannot get back.